Welcome to the Phlarp Podcast. Phlarp stands for Park Hills Live Action Role Players. We are a medieval fantasy-themed LARP group. We engage in unscripted combat against each other using padded LARP weapons and a shared combat system. We also participate in ad-lib dialogue with each other in an attempt to portray a character, and many of us also wear costumes. We operate out of Park Hills, Missouri, every Sunday from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. We strive to create an environment that facilitates our players' immersion as much as possible so that regardless of their previous experience with LARP, they could participate and have a fun and memorable LARP experience. We want to help people create friendships, relationships, and memories that will last a lifetime. It is our hope here at the Phlarp Podcast that through the utilization of this platform, we can expand on the ideas and suggestions taken from our players so that we can maximize player retention and expand our player base. The Phlarp Podcast is made possible by support from our players and listeners like you. If you would like to support us, please visit our Patreon, where you can do so for as little as $3 a month. Also, any engagement on our YouTube or Facebook pages is much appreciated, and thank you for listening. Barely got that in there, and we're live. Welcome,
right.
Yeah, welcome to the Phlarp Podcast. I'm going to stop saying what show this is because I don't know anymore. But I know that it's being recorded on November...
Is it the 27th?
27th.
Yeah.
Yep.
And who are you again?
I'm North.
Yeah, Brandon, also known as Davine Allman.
And I'm Chris, also known as Eric the Red.
And
The God.
we do not have a
Second
co-taste.
Second week of that.
Co-taste.
We don't have a co-taste today?
Don't
yeah,
have a
no
co-taste?
co-taste.
No co-guest today.
Yes.
Oh.
Also, I had heard some feedback that you guys need to differentiate your voices somehow.
Yeah. No. How do I do that?
Just like that. That's perfect.
Terrible. I feel like most people, they may not be able to tell our voices apart, but my hope is that if like they hear a good point or it's like intellectual in any way, they'll understand it's me and not Chris.
Right.
If it's more like silly in nature or doesn't make any sense,
Oh, for sure.
you know,
Then
I mean,
obviously.
100%.
then
that's
obviously
Chris.
it's Chris.
100%.
Dumbass.
Thank you.
It is what it is.
Okay,
What
so
do we got today?
we got assigned a sweet movie to watch last week.
Oh, we're going to start with
Jeez.
that.
You
You
said
want, you want to start with violence at the beginning of the podcast.
we could go ahead and get this out of the way.
First
Or
off,
do you want to wait? We can wait.
No,
Do you wanna
please,
go
no,
first?
no, you've already got my
Okay.
mind on it.
just let's get it over with.
Okay. Do you want to do like a rough synopsis of the movie? We got to watch the assignment I
We
gave.
got to watch.
Yeah.
Got to
yeah, it was
watch?
a privilege.
Ooh, yay!
We got the privilege of watching Tom Hanks's, I think his first movie.
It might have been.
It's what I
can
heard.
tell you that it was 1982. It's 40 years old. Mazes and Monsters.
Mazes and Monsters, which is a play on Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what it
yeah.
was in the show.
And
And the dude has just gone crazy, and that's the movie.
Yeah.
Like they are like following him around trying to prevent him from like killing himself, which they did do. They prevented him from
yeah, 'cause
jumping
he's
off the
the
twin towers.
which is another crazy
Yeah.
thing that's even in the movie.
And so like they save him and you think it's going to be better, you know, and they're like, oh, like what is it, 3 months or 6 months forward?
Later,
Whatever.
they do
yeah.
a time
it was
jump.
like-
Yeah, they do a time jump and they're like, oh, well, let's go see Robbie, who's the main character, the one
Yeah.
who thinks he's like this, you know, whatever.
Real life
And you
priest
think,
or
I
whatever.
mean, I think he's going to be better. Like,
Yeah,
I,
they
like,
kind of make it
they
seem
make
like
it seem like he's going to be okay. And then they go and see him and he's like literally talking to them like he's this character and like, let's go on this adventure. And the movie ends with them just walking into the woods. Like,
it was like the staff had explained to him, had played into him being in character, and because he's like, we can go over here and there are many paths, but we must stay on the path. And he's like being all serious, and then his friends just look around each other and they're like, oh gosh, I guess he's gone.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, Purdue, we'll just go over in there and have a good time.
Yep.
And then that's it. It just like zooms out, rolls credits, and is like, that's it. Like you're
yeah. And like I said before, I ended watching this movie with the question to myself, did I gain anything from watching this movie or did I just lose 2 hours of my life? And I feel like I'm leaning towards I just lost 2 hours of my life. Like I don't,
yeah.
I feel like this is how you troll someone is you tell them to go watch
Maybe.
this movie.
It might have been a bit of a troll.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I kind of think that you and I were set up for this, and don't worry, we will get you back.
Okay.
Yeah, we got some movies for you to watch, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay. You ever seen The King's Speech?
I'm not. I have.
You know what? No.
Actually, and I didn't make it through all. I didn't make it through that one.
No
So,
more recommendations from you.
Okay.
None. You're vetoed.
They made us watch that one in school.
And I want to point this out about that movie. Not The King's Speech, but the other one.
Mazes
The
and Monsters.
confusingest part about it is the fact that he's actually seeing stuff, and they're
Yeah.
trying to pin it on D&D whenever he's having an actual real-life
No,
problem.
he's got some mental problems for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And then they're
probably psychosis, probably because he's
Something.
literally seeing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Yeah, and he's got it enough together to be able to, like, remember the phone number to his house, and, like, he kind of has a rough idea of what's happening. But, yeah, I mean, it's like, how did this say, like, what the message is? Because there's one part where she basically looks at the camera and says, turns out the real monsters were inside us all along. Like that, basically, like, it's like the message of the movie is that, you know, I don't know. I guess that if that
the
was the
problem's
message of
not
the movie,
D&D.
that makes sense.
There was
No. Yeah.
Robbie had something wrong with him already,
Yeah.
and they're trying to pin it on something it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was some kind of medical
It was like
issue with himself.
It was like the movie itself was a propaganda campaign or something.
It could have been. I mean,
Against D&D.
back in 1982 or whatever, because I do know a lot of people that
The satanic
did not
panic.
like D&D when it came out. It was like a foreign concept, and people were pretty crazy about it.
Yeah, I mean that was during the Satanic Panic, so you know I could see why they would try and use that as propaganda, but I mean, dude, D&D, you're just doing it on a table. That's it. You're just using your imagination,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Well,
you
even
know,
when you're LARPing, you know
using
it's fake.
yeah.
Do you?
I mean, do you?
I don't. When I get into character, I'm in character. You know.
That's why I'm a god, and you're not.
Well, now we know some of us are using our imaginations.
100%, dude. That's what LARPing's all about, bro.
Fair enough.
But I mean, you know, and if you don't mind, this kind of does a segue into a question that I had. Okay. And I'm going to refer to my notes if you don't mind. It says, you know, can you connect movies with LARP? 100%. So comic, D&D novels, or sorry, D&D and novels and things like that bring people to life and make costumes or even cosplay. Can you consider those LARP?
I mean, I don't think it doesn't. It helps further LARP to encompass and say that a bunch of other things are LARPs too. Like it. But I get what you're saying. I mean, I think in some context, sure. Like, I think you could call a lot of things LARPs.
I mean, because if you think about it, like almost every script that an actor has to read, it's not about that
Sure.
actor. It's about another character. Unless it's
I mean, okay, that's fair, but I also think that it's important to understand that that's scripted and what we do is not.
yeah.
So it is different.
True.
I mean, it's scripted, yes.
But like, even if I'm quoting a movie and I'm like, oh, like I was a minute ago when I was like, oh, the real monsters are inside us all along.
Right.
That wasn't just my normal voice. Like
No.
I was actually kind of pretending to be that person that said that, you know?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
So there's levels of it that are like, I think, that are LARPing. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of parallels between LARPing and other things that people do.
Because, I mean, like, you know, that was something I was thinking about is like, you know, having to watch this utterly terrible atrocity of a movie.
It was that bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was
Yeah.
it was
It's like-
terrible.
A bad version of Requiem for a Dream, where the normal story arc is like a hump or a downward hump, like where it goes down and then back up. Requiem for a Dream just goes straight out and then nosedives for the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what this movie did. About halfway through, it just got stupid.
You say that. I mean, yeah, the overall movie was bad, but I feel like it started extra bad. It started super slow.
Really? I thought it was all right
Yes.
start.
No, I thought
Setup.
at some point, like I got almost intrigued for a second until it just dumped it on me at the end again. Like, had the ending not been so bad,
Maybe it would have been better.
maybe it was a 2 out of 10 instead of a negative 2 out of 10. You know, but the ending's important in my opinion, and the fact that it just ended so sour, I don't know. I'll never watch
Could
it
you
again.
see it coming from a little? Oh, I guess you said you weren't thinking it was going to end. that way.
No, so like in the movie, they almost, I feel like they mislead you a little bit as
Make
to
you think
how
it's
they
like a
think.
regular movie.
Yeah. So there's like a couple references as to, well, it's kind of a bad topic, but they're talking about basically maybe killing themselves in the movie and like some different things like that. And I thought for sure there was going to be a death from one of the characters at the particularly
rolled up to
Bart.
the
What is it?
two
Purdue?
towers.
Purdue? Is that what his name was?
And dude
Yeah.
comes flying off the roof.
Yeah, like I thought maybe there would be something like that, and that's what I foresaw coming. What actually came was so much worse somehow.
Like you're just left sitting there looking,
Oh, it was
looking
horrible.
around the room, like, what
Yeah.
did this do? What did I just?
Yeah, I like literally had to pause it for like a second. Like when he started talking like in character at the end of the movie, I had to like pause it and collect my thoughts because I was so like, is this really? Is this
how
real?
it's gonna end? Yeah.
Is this
Like,
real right
wow.
now? But
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. Well, I mean, I guess I did for that particular.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. So then I asked myself, again, even though it's scripted,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and you said that yes, there are aspects of it that are LARP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so people call us nerds for doing LARP or doing D&D, right? So does that mean an actor is a nerd? Because again, they're taking this script into a live action role play. So does that mean that, Robert Downey Jr., is he a nerd? He became Iron Man.
I mean, I would say he's a nerd because he could create Iron Man.
That kind of makes him a nerd.
Dude, RDJ, I don't know, man.
I just imagine him doing like a really like Chris, the Captain America guy. What's his name?
Chris Evans.
Evans, yeah,
Yeah.
doing a really just impactful scene, crying, and then somebody on set being like, "Nerd!" He's
He
like, I'm trying to get
actually-
into character here.
Chris Evans, I think it was this year, was voted the world's most handsome man or whatever.
Hmm.
He just won that title this year.
I don't know that I disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with it either, but I don't have somebody that I'm like, there
Somebody else
needs to
doesn't
be
just pop
this
into your head.
person.
Yeah.
I mean, he has self-entitled America's Greatest Ass.
I'm surprised it's me that got back into
I did.
the movies themselves. Like in that one, it's like a meme became reality. Did you know that the first meme that supposedly became in a movie was the Juggernaut line? Because that existed as a meme beforehand, and then whenever he's in the X-Men 3 or whatever it is, he says, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch," and that comes from a meme.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about. But
Oh, gee.
fair
You
enough.
never seen X-Men 3?
No, I don't
Oh.
really X-Men.
It's not a very good movie.
It wasn't, but
It's better than Mazes and Monsters, though. I'll
yes,
tell you that.
yes.
I'm not sure that's really saying that much.
I
So
think
do I
that-
get to pick the next movie?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, you're done for a minute.
I have another one
No,
lined up. That's good.
absolutely
It's
not. I
actually
don't
good.
care. You're the
Okay.
last to pick now.
Okay.
I actually had somebody recommend movies.
Yeah.
For us to watch?
Spaceballs.
I mean, that's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
I was like, oh god, that's a definite. I love that movie.
I mean, I guess it kind of goes against what you're saying, but I don't know that it's necessarily LARP related, but I do love that movie.
oh, I love it.
The movie's great.
May the Schwartz be with you.
I like the
Honestly,
part where
Mel-
they're combing the sand because they were told to comb the area. That
He
part
goes-
is gold.
What about you guys? The guy's like, we ain't found shit. Sir, do you think you're being too literal? There's a lot of funny parts in that movie, really.
I love
One of my favorite parts in that movie is when he goes to kill the Darth Vader guy. He kills the sound guy. The sound guy holding the boob is like, ah, and he like dies. And he goes, he did it. Over to the other guy.
Oh,
Kind of a meta joke. I
you know
guess.
what? I think that's going to be my movie this week.
What is the last movie Mel Brooks made? Like, I know he's alive still. I'm not trying to say he's dead, but he's really old. But he made a bunch of funny movies, basically. Robin Hood Men in Tights and Young Frankenstein. And, I don't know, there's a bunch of hilarious movies. What was the last one he made, though?
Wasn't it Robin Hood Men in
Men in
Tights?
Tights?
I think so.
I'm not sure.
I'm kind of curious. I feel like those movies nowadays don't do as well, but maybe they're not written as well, too. Like those stupid, funny movies, like Scary Movie or one of those. Mel Brooks was like a legend.
He-
at that.
I'm trying to think
Being
of
able to
the
make jokes and
last
dance on the line of
movie that was like that I enjoyed. I don't know. I don't know that there's been one recently.
I think that's it. Because I mean, like you said, the scary movies, they're just. I never got into them. They're trying to do parodies, and I get that, but like you said, Mel Brooks, he was a legend.
At writing the jokes.
He was the
really good.
greatest, and I wish that I kind of wish he had like a squire, somebody that he could teach and be like, all right, pick up the sword. Now it's your turn.
His son directed, I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think his son directed World War Z, and they asked him about it, and he said, there's not enough jokes in it. I said, what do you think about your son directing this World War Z? He's like, oh, it's not funny enough. I was like, okay, so that's supposed to be funny, but I mean, it's funny. It's funny coming from
He's
Mel
being
Brooks.
funny.
Yeah. So, anyway, what were you saying? Or were we on that? Was that we were?
I think that was it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. As Robert Downey
I mean, there's
Jr.,
some
nerd. He's
parallels.
not. No, he's not a nerd.
RDJ, not a nerd.
Anybody that is contingent on having a good time is contingent on taking somebody else down a peg for them having a good time is already losing the game here. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more of like I was in the mindset
Just an interesting
of
connection.
like we as in us us three, and then the characters that actually come out and put forth everything they have into Phlarp, and we're like, we role play. I had somebody come up to me today and ask me about a role playing scenario, and I was all like, yeah, I can't really give you an answer on that because that's walking a fine line, but whatever you do is what you do, and so it's like we are role playing, we are nerds. I say it every day. I'm a nerd. I love Harry Potter. I love role playing. So I'm a nerd, but then it just comes back to our actors nerds because they want to do role play. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. I also don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
No
I think,
offense. I just sure if I'm a nerd because of the things that I like, then I'm a nerd. I don't really care. I'm not worried about it.
You're
I
always
think
a nerd.
That's fair.
role playing is really fun though, and I mean, like, I guess people maybe, just saying that doesn't really encompass the whole thing, but doing impromptu dialogue with somebody, or what do they call that? Not impromptu, but ad-libbing dialogue with somebody, especially in character or in a voice even, is fun. Like even us today, we were kind of goofing around, and we were doing like a terrible Mario accent, but I mean, we were doing that for like a few minutes there, having
Sure.
quite a bit of dialogue.
Sure.
That was probably the funnest time I had today. Honestly, was doing that. I mean, not that the rest of it isn't fun, but I don't know.
I gotta hear this, man.
It's hilarious.
I think our listeners need to hear it.
Oh, it's a me. No, it's like that.
Yeah. It's a me, a Davin Owen.
Because it's better even when we get off. Like if I keep trying to talk like this,
Yeah, it's
then
hard.
I'm not gonna keep doing it because
No.
it's awful. But
And it's hard to
Be
get
clear.
out of almost once you get into it.
try to figure out how to say different things.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah, see, and that's why I say
Maybe it's
I
it's not
love
for
role
some
playing.
people,
I
but
love role playing.
I mean, I think it's fun. So
All right. Did you guys want to give a recap of this weekend?
yeah, sure. We played 3 games, I think, this time. We played a little bit less games this time. We just did a last man standing. We didn't have a costume contest because we're trying to,
We're going to spread them out a little bit.
yeah, so that people aren't necessarily farming the XP, but they're still getting the opportunity to enter whenever they have a little bit, different costume or whatever. We don't want people to get discouraged, but we don't want them to get into, we don't want people to have really good costumes to get discouraged either. So.
Right.
So it's like a balancing act. But so, yeah, we didn't do a costume contest, and then we played Illidan's Gambit and Juggernaut, which Juggernaut we hadn't played yet, like, for a while, and it went pretty well, I thought. I mean, it was all right. I think we need to lower that limit or whatever on the amount of people you got to kill as the Juggernaut. It's a pretty simple game, just for people that don't know. It's basically just makes you immune to limb damage while you're wearing a GoPro, and then if you kill the guy with the GoPro, you get it, and then you got to be the first one to get a certain amount of consecutive kills. So if you die, it resets, but you got to get a certain amount of consecutive kills with the GoPro on. So, but yeah, other than the kills being a little bit too much, that one went pretty well too. And both of those have a unique setup. Both of those games have a different setup than, like, we kind of changed that a little while ago, and both those setups seemed like they went fine.
I think the transition was actually, once we had to break it down for them, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, transition smooth."
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And even with Juggernaut, there's a little bit of RP.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Raven Shadow Weaver, he tried to get a little RP going, but Sir Ednick shut it down. He shut it down hard. And we also had a double, like a Lord and Lady took their oath.
Yeah.
Because they can have, they kind of trade off leadership. I think the one girl's just going to be the main, Siren or Tigress is going to be the main, I think, leader around this time, but they just wanted to both swear in under it. So
Right.
Cool.
So I think that was pretty awesome.
yeah, so we got 4 clans now sworn in. So 4 teams of, I don't know, 3 or 4.
3 clans.
Yeah, today was the third, I do believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we
It's
have
just Lord Rand, Lady
Chaos
Vix,
Company,
and now Lady Siren.
I guess I'm thinking there's 2 others that I know are trying to form, but I don't know how. I guess I don't know how well they're gonna. They didn't take the oath though, so. But yeah,
Yep. So that was really good.
That was today, basically.
yeah, we didn't do a whole lot today.
A lot of people seem to work on their Squire tests today.
Yeah, they were doing that because I had revamped the way that works a little bit, tried to streamline it a little bit more, make it less confusing. So, and that's just like kind of a new thing that people do. We did have a guy come up today and he was talking about listening to the podcast and he had no other context besides the podcast. He hasn't played with us. We had two.
Was that the person that messaged the Facebook page?
I don't know if he was the same one. I did not like confirm, but I forgot to ask him that actually. But he said he did play at Amp Guard.
I think we're talking about the same person.
Oh, okay. The one that walked up in the Carhartt is if
Yes.
that's the same
Yes,
one that messaged.
that
then
is the
yeah.
person.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, he said it looked like it was fun and everything. But he did say, "What is patrol?" He goes, "I've been listening to the podcast." He goes, "What is patrol?" Like that. I was like, it's kind of a. So I guess for people listening that don't know what it is, we try not to give too many people too many details. But essentially, it's a new game we play with new people, or not new, but it's a game we play with new people.
And it can only really
we
be
reserve
played
it for new
with
people.
new people.
Yeah. So it's kind of also like one of the new kids that came out a couple weeks ago. He drove from pretty far away too. He was talking to his dad after he did it, and he said it's kind of like a tutorial, and I would agree with that. It's kind of like a tutorial that tells you, explains you kind of how to play and this different stuff. But anyway, so I guess I was just thinking I should try to make sure to elaborate just a little bit more on some things, just so that if somebody's listening that has no clue whatsoever, that they would be able to know what we're talking about.
It's funny though that he brought up like the one thing that we really don't want them to know what we're talking
that's
about.
true. Yeah.
That's all right though.
Mm-hmm. He'll get it once he
does it.
Yeah, so if you're listening.
Next week.
Yeah,
be ready.
Yep.
He'd better be there.
Learn you something.
That's right.
Do you want to go ahead and do the suggestion box and just get that out of the way, or?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get the old suggestion box. And then in the meantime, I want to tell you a funny story. I got a few funny ones here. Okay.
Just to be clear, who decided they were funny?
I did.
Okay, so,
Have you ever seen
grain
the
of
movie?
salt.
Have you ever seen the movie Firestarter?
Yeah, like you know what?
With,
Maybe I haven't.
Drew Barrymore.
No,
little.
I've watched the new
okay.
version with Zac Efron. I think is who's in
Okay.
that. But I have not seen the old one.
Okay, well, for a little context, in the original one, there's this like assassin guy running around killing people, right?
Okay.
And I had previously seen the movie, so I know it was going to be like a traumatic part. There's a part in the movie where the guy, he wakes a guy up that's sleeping that he's going to kill. He puts like a little piece of weed on his head or on his face, and he wakes up and he looks at him, just kind of stares at him for a minute, and then he karate chops him in the face, and it like blood immediately just like pours out of his nose down his face. And it just kills him instantly. So it's kind of like all of a sudden, it's kind of like traumatic,
Sure.
And I was watching the movie with Isaac, and I knew this part was coming, and Isaac's like younger, so I was trying to like make a joke at the same time that this happened, so that it would like alleviate the wildness of what just happened,
Sure.
So like we're watching this movie that like it gets to the part, and I'm watching, I'm thinking, what do I say? What do I do here to make this like funny and not make this like a crazy, scary thing? So as soon as he goes, as soon as he like goes to karate chop him, I was like, Hakuna Matata! And as he does it. So now there's like this joke that whenever we, like something crazy happens, we'll be like, Hakuna Matata! Like, and like, I don't know, it's just really funny because it made it like, Isaac looked at me and he's like, what? Hakuna Matata? He's like, did that guy just die? And I was like, yeah. I was like, he's like, what'd you say that for? I was like, I don't know, man. I was just joking. I was trying to make like light of the situation. But then it turned into sort of a reference now whenever, I don't know. You want to hear another funny one? We were watching E.T. and there's a part in E.T. Hang on.
Oh,
Where they
man.
cut to E.T. and he's face down on the beach. And Isaac was watching it the first time he ever watched it. And he goes, oh, he's dead. And I was like, yep, that's it. E.T.'s dead. So we always joke about, you don't think that's funny? He's like a little kid. And you think, come on.
Thank you.
And
Thank
he thought
you.
E.T. was dead just because he hadn't seen it. Oh, this is mine. I wrote this one.
Oh.
There's only 3, so I'll read mine.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so I always want to do a re-edit where it just rolls the credits whenever E.T. dies. Or not dies, but whenever he's on the beach. Just like fade it to black. And then do a roll credits. Nobody cares. You guys don't think this is funny at
No,
all?
I think that this was clearly self-proclaimed funny. I think that's
You had to been there?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay.
I'm dead. Like, just, I'm dead.
So this one's about.
Okay.
I'll just get this out of the way. It's about a specific person's weapon being too long. Unfortunately, like it's within the rules. I understand your beef with it, but it's not too long. So that's all
Okay.
that is. I mean,
I understand.
Okay, this is, I'll just read it. Stun locking should not be a thing. Stun lasts 3 seconds. Shouldn't be able to use stun again for 5 seconds. Give us a chance to get away from it.
okay. So
Yeah.
can I say something about this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Here's my deal.
You're gonna say the
Let's
same
just
thing I did.
assume that that's a spear and not a staff,
Right.
and he hits you with it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's quote unquote, you're just dead. There is no stun.
Yeah. He's
so
at
like
a
the idea,
disadvantage.
yeah, he's literally at a disadvantage. So the whole idea of being aggravated about a stun is kind of silly to me, because if we made it lethal, then you would just be dead. That's not better. So, like, if you can bring to me a suggestion that has a solution that's better than just complaining about a problem, then please do it, because I don't think that there's a better solution than what's already exists. That's what I have to say about it.
I agree. 100%. I don't even have anything to add to that. That's perfect. That's what I would have said anyway. So
And again, they're not trying to be rude or anything. It's just like we get these a lot about this particular issue, and it's silly to be aggravated about, because the alternative is you just dying.
yeah, if you didn't like it, you could just be dead as soon as he stuns you. Just
Yeah.
go, I'm dead. Now walk off away from him so he doesn't stun lock you. But that's no better than being
No.
stun locked and sitting there and waiting to see if someone else comes up and breaks his stun lock
Yeah.
on you. You know.
Yeah, I don't. That to me doesn't make any. Don't get hit by it. I don't know what to
Mhm.
say. I don't just Anyway.
I'm going to use something that was said
And
last week.
And for the people that don't know what's going on, I guess because some people may not understand, certain classes, when they use weapons, they don't actually damage you, they just stun you. And the thing is that class can walk up to you and hit you with that weapon, and then just keep hitting you with that weapon over and over and stunning you until they get another weapon out to kill you. But like Brandon said, the alternative to that is you just died from when you got hit with the stun, because it has to hit you in the torso area anyway. So if that had been lethal, you'd just be dead. So what's the difference? You know,
Yeah. People can use
What do they
spears
want us
that
to do?
long if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question. Okay, so with spear or staff, either one, is that a two-handed weapon?
I mean,
It's over a 200.
yeah, yes, you have to have two hands on the
You have
weapon.
to have two hands on that
Yes.
weapon.
Correct.
So
Well, it depends. He can defend with his spear. Anybody can defend. If you're holding a weapon and somebody comes up and starts attacking you, I don't expect you to be like, oh, and then defend with
Right.
it. Grab
Right.
it with another hand. He can defend with that one,
Mm-hmm.
fine, much as he wants, and still pull out a packet and throw it.
okay,
But it's just if he goes to attack at all with that, even if he hit somebody with it, it wouldn't even count, basically, because he's not putting both hands. He's just trying to defend. He's
If he only has one hand, I believe that's different.
yeah.
But if
for
he has
sure.
two
Right.
hands, he's got to attack with two hands on the staff or spear.
okay.
Mhm.
So the question I had is, he stunned someone. He has to use two hands.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
if he's going to get another weapon other than like a packet, like an axe,
axe.
or something of that nature, then can he hold that weapon? Can he hold the
Yeah,
staff?
I think he should be able to.
He can hold it.
Okay, but he can't like.
The whole reason
He shouldn't pull the axe out and then keep stun locking him, but I've seen him. He'll usually just grab it and kill him without
Okay.
doing both.
All right. I think that's
Like once
what
he commits to pulling it out, I think he just stops stun locking you and tries to kill you with
Okay.
whatever he's pulling out.
I kind of think that's where that question was coming from. Yes, stun locking, I get that. Again, the only other thing you can do is just
Be dead.
be dead.
Yeah.
And we've had some players that are like, you know what,
I've seen people do that, yeah.
I'm just going to die because, there's no other alternative to a stun lock. And then I think where the other side of that is, can that person stun lock and then, use that other weapon pretty much in succession? I think that's where that question was coming from also. So,
Like at the same time.
yeah. I think that's kind
Sort
of
of
where it
can,
was.
as long as he's not attacking with the spear
Okay.
or the staff. But
Right. Okay. I think that's kind of where that was coming from. So
For me, the whole thing about having to have two hands on a long weapon like that is because if you're using one hand, you can extend a lot further. The range is a lot crazier. It's not so much
get
about
out like 2 feet or foot or so.
yeah. I mean, like if he's
It's
right
really
on
far.
top of him anyway, I don't have an issue with him stunning them on repeat. I mean, especially knowing that if that was a different class, that you would just be dead. So
yeah.
Every other class. That's another way
yeah,
to put it.
every class.
Single other person that would have hit you in that scenario would have just killed you. So it's a disadvantage on, if anybody should be complaining, it's that class almost, but I'm not going to change it either way. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyway, unless somebody comes up with a really good argument as to why I should. Like, well, as opposed to what? Like saying, like letting you get out of a stun lock that would have killed you normally is just making that class of character or that class less powerful, basically.
Okay.
And it's not that it's too powerful. I don't think that at all.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so either. I think he's done a really good job of using that weapon.
And not getting like frustrated.
And people don't know how to deal with it
Mm-hmm.
because there's not a lot of super lengthy weapons
Oh.
in the game right now.
And also, as soon as somebody gets any kind of stun lock or any kind of movement impairing,
Like
freedom
charge or-
movement, yeah, they can get right out of that and then kill him. He'll think that they can't do that. And of course, you're only going to do that a couple times before he's going to realize that person has whatever ability. But
Right. Okay.
like there will be counters even that exist that makes it to where even if he does stun lock you, you'll be able to get out of it and kill him.
Right. We did have our town merchant again today.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
So that was awesome.
Yeah, I think she's going to be doing a lot of that stuff. I gave her the other products that we sell. So
I think she did an amazing job.
it seemed like she
she's-
sold enough of that food to justify its coming out.
The
I
chili
don't
was
know,
gone.
I bought a
It
little
was
bit.
gone.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So
Cool. Was there anybody besides like us that bought it? Like
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I gave her $20 for some chili and some cookies and
That's what
Hot
I did.
chocolate.
I gave her like $20, and it was like,
yeah,
let me get a little bit, and I bought a couple bowls for a couple other people. But
that's good.
yeah. I know she had said something about the gentleman that was up at the whatever it's
The
called.
homeless guy.
Yeah.
And fed him too.
Yep. So, again, we like to give back to our community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that was awesome.
And as far as I know, she's going to be trying to come out each week. So eventually she'll have a website that we can refer you guys to that she sells. Also, one of the main things she would sell that other people might be interested in is she does like
Garb.
tailoring. Yeah,
Mhm.
she does like sewing and makes all kinds of, she's got the tabard I got on right now. And they don't have their tabards on, but I think she made Chris's. So.
Yeah, she made mine.
She should be making one for me soon. It just matters, I guess, if she's clearing up lists or whatever she's doing. So.
Man, I tell you what, that hood thing too was awesome. I took it off, I guess, already, but that hood thing was really cool.
I'm probably going to get one of those too.
Especially, I told her I was going to get one that's green. I want one that's green, and I want the emblem on that part that hangs down. That'd be perfect. Look awesome too, because I don't like the fact that it covers up my emblem, but with an
Well, you could
emblem
always
on it would
Put
work.
it underneath.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it would show it off as much, basically. I kind of liked the way it looked with the triangle dipping
That's fair.
down, but...
Yeah.
I was worried about my hands getting in there as easy too, but I probably could have still done that because it has like a hand warmer up front. So that worked really good for my phone and my wallet. I actually ended up leaving them in there for the majority of the time because it held it. The weight of them in there held the front part down real nice.
Yeah, that was definitely. I want one. I know somebody had said something about getting some gloves off Wish.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll
I don't
probably
know who
get
that could have been.
they'll probably get that. What'd you say this June?
Yeah, June, July, something like that.
Yeah. I do have a question for you. This was brought up, and I've already talked to you about it before we started. Can you explain to me the story behind the mating tree?
Yeah, I can do that. So I got to give you a little bit of background
Is this funny?
information. I guess it depends on which perspective you're looking at it from.
All right, I'll prepare.
All right,
myself
so-
to laugh.
Earlier, this particular day that he's referring to, this is back when we had property. People had been putting like fake rubber snakes around the town. Okay, like in the town, whatever. And so like we were almost like kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, whatever. We weren't really expecting there to be real snakes. So we went out into the woods, but like not very far. It was like on the main path or whatever. And there was a couple, what looked like fake, like large fake rubber black snakes under a tree, 2 of them together. And everyone's like, oh, that's fake, because there had been these fake rubber snakes in the town, They weren't moving. They were completely still. I didn't see a tongue move. I didn't see an eye move, nothing. So we're looking at them for a while, and of course somebody's like, oh, well, let's go like see if they're real. And I'm like, how are you going to do that? You going to like go over and touch it? Like, no. So we started throwing like throw weapons at it and stuff, and still nothing. No movement at all. And eventually one of the younger kids, we convinced them that it was a better idea to just like kind of like walk towards it, not do anything to it, but just kind of like walk over towards it. And the one took off. They were real snakes. And so we started calling it the mating tree because they were clearly in that tree, like, creating more snakes,
Procreating.
Yeah. And so, but I like forever more after that. It was like some cedar trees we used to like run under and stuff. And it was like some of the main trees in the area. And I forevermore called it the mating tree and refused to go near that tree because I was like, nope, there's 2 gigantic snakes in there that I'm not going anywhere near. So,
And they were just hanging out of the tree?
no, so at
twisted
first,
up?
they ended up back in the tree doing whatever it is they were doing. But at that time, they were on the ground, like kind of like almost towards the path, but they were still under the tree, like under like the low hanging cedar branches or whatever.
But they were just
And
intertwined?
they were just, no, not at that time. They were
okay.
they were very close to one another, but they weren't moving at all. So nobody realized that they were real snakes. That's all it is. But
See, I was informed that apparently at one time, David was walking, I guess, to a specific keep and seeing the snakes in the tree procreating, and that you screamed like a little girl and ran completely around the whole property just to get back to your keep.
See, that's the
And
way
fake
I
news.
remember
And
it.
Fake
screamed
news.
like like little girl shriek and run, and the whole hands in the air, and
I think you need a new source because whoever gave you that information lied.
so
I don't like snakes. I don't like them. I'll say that. That's true.
and
But I don't screech like a little girl when I see them.
She screamed like a man.
Yeah, I screamed like a man.
and that I was
like,
informed. I was informed you don't like clowns, and I was all like,
So the
"Do
thing
I
with
bring a
clowns-
clown mask or not?"
So the thing with clowns
I would not recommend
basically is I'm not so much scared of them, but I do get like an uneasy feeling around them.
Again, fake news. I was told that somebody had clown shoes, just clown shoes on, and was standing behind a curtain, and you were able to see the clown shoes, and walked up and punched this person, assaulted this person in the midsection.
See, you're getting like half stories.
Yeah, the source is
This
Man.
I mean, something like that
This is a
happened to
good-
me,
it
but
is a
there
good
was no
story.
clown shoes. I had a friend. We had like those long curtains that like went all the way to the ground. You know
Right.
what I'm talking about? And he was in the living room hiding behind one of those curtains before I went to sleep. And he was making noises. He was doing like the it sounds or whatever, like
the giggling and
yeah, like the oh, you want a balloon, those kind of things.
Right.
And like I don't know, something in my head knew that it was one of my friends, but like I was a little creeped out about it, and I also didn't want him to ever do it again. So I was like kind of reaching down. It was a buddy's house, and his mom kind of was a hoarder, I'll say, and so there was just stuff, just things that don't make sense everywhere. And so I reached down. I was like kind of reaching for like something hard or whatever, and I found a metal candlestick. And when he jumped out of there, I swatted him right across the face with this candlestick. I busted his head open. And so, I mean, was that a real story? Yes. But there were no clown shoes. It was just him making noises, but he did pay for what he tried to do to me. And to be fair, never did it again. So
Did you say, "I told you"? Whenever.
I don't remember. I remember a lot of yelling and, it is what it is.
A lot of chaos.
Yeah, I'm sure people weren't happy with me at the time, but also I don't think that shit's funny. So
All right, so
No, he probably doesn't think it.
I don't think
That's
he'll
right.
ever do it again.
Yeah.
So
PSA to all of our players that come out: do not come in clown uniform.
But he was not actually in any sort of clown outfit. He was just
no clown attire. He was just being a jerk. Is what he was doing.
because I've told that story and I included the clown shoes. I don't know if I made that up or what.
I don't know.
Because I've always thought they did that they were dressed up specifically like a
No,
clown.
I don't think they were. No, he wasn't dressed up at all because I hit him square across the face with this. Well, like above his eyebrow, I guess. With this, it was like a golden, heavy
Candelabra.
candle thing. That's all I can say. But yeah, he may have needed stitches. It was kind of a thing.
What a bully!
I agree. How dare they try to scare me?
Yeah.
I just stood up for myself.
Yeah, he won't ever bully you again now.
Probably not.
That's what we're for.
And then also I did have a suggestion, but I wrote it. But it was something a player told me that I was supposed to note and then remember. But I'll go ahead and read it because I'm not sure that... I can tell you what he said, but I don't know if there's a solution to be had or we already have a solution and people just aren't using it. It says, something to indicate if someone has completed the Squire trials. And he was saying that the reason why is because he wanted to know whether people were using abilities. I think he was saying that he was worried about people using abilities before they were technically allowed to use them, and nothing indicating that I guess that they had completed the Squire quest. But I mean, I was thinking in my head, like, isn't that what the crown is? Basically, the crown is that. And then we kind of were talking about, well, what if it's somebody doesn't want to wear the crown? But I'm not sure what scenario he was trying to get at to I don't know. If you're listening to this, put in the comments what you were trying to ask me, because I guess I got confused. And can I add something too? I want to do something
ahead.
every podcast. I want to ask a question that gets people engaged in the comments. So I want to ask some sort of question to be able to get people to answer it in the comments. Be like, even if it's a contest, whatever. I don't know how to do it, but something that we'll just start by asking a question like, "What do you think about this?" Let us know in the comments, and then maybe later on we'll evolve it into some kind of like competition in some way. I don't know. I just thought it would be a cool idea.
So do you got a question?
Wrote that down again a minute ago. Do I got a question?
So clearly that's no.
No.
I have a question.
I just asked one. It was, do I have a question?
I have a
The
question.
answer is no.
And I've already spoke with Davine about this.
Question as in question for this comments or just in general?
No.
Okay. Looks like it's for me.
So, if each of us were a dog,
Okay.
what would we be? And what famous
dog.
actor?
I mean, like, what breed of dog would I be?
Yes.
Oh. Probably I can't think of what these are called.
Can you describe it?
It's kind of like a greyhound, but they have long hair. I think it's an Afghan. Something. Probably that. We'll just say golden retriever
Why though?
because they're like friendly and I don't know.
You feel like you're friendly?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. We'll
Okay.
say, I don't know. I didn't have much time to think about this.
Or you didn't have any time to think about it?
Yeah, and I answered before I even thought about it, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I was
so-
mainly thinking of like stature, but I guess personality-wise, I don't know. Dogs are all different, you know. I feel like traits for breeds of dogs is hard to quantify as far as not physical traits, but like personality-wise.
Okay. So,
So I don't know. I'm complicated.
I talked with Davine about this, and I think that you are a Boston Terrier,
Oh yeah.
and because Boston Terriers yap and are so freaking annoying, and you would be Dustin Hoffman from Rain Man because you cannot keep your thoughts straight.
Wow.
You can remember everything, but you cannot
Let me ask you
keep
this.
them straight.
Because I feel like this is fair. All right, so if you had the option of giving your personality closer to Dustin Hoffman or Jason Bateman, who would you say?
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
That was my because he brought me. I think he's like Jason Bateman, and I was like, how? Like how? Like I don't get that
Yeah.
one at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I only agreed with the Boston Terrier thing because he explained it about your short attention span. That's the only.
Jumping from one thing to the
Yeah.
next and stuff. Yeah. Makes
But-
sense.
For Davine,
Let's see if I agree because I feel like I have answers for these. But let's see what you got.
I have an untrained Rottweiler
I hate Rottweilers.
because they're just ugly, mean,
Wow. Jesus.
and the famous actor would be Will Arnett.
I don't even know who that is.
He
work
does
on-
the voice actor for Batman.
I can work on my attention span. What are you gonna do?
I'm just ugly. I'm a Rottweiler because I'm ugly. See, I feel like me and like Vince Vaughn are like the same people. Like every time I watch a Vince Vaughn movie, I'm like, that's literally me.
Yeah, I could see that.
And
Yeah.
then
Like his deadpan delivery of certain things. and
yes,
stuff.
like
Yeah.
his jokes, like this just
Makes sense.
dude, I always go back to the movie The Breakup.
Yes.
And when he's arguing with Jennifer Aniston, and he's like, "Why would I want to do the dishes?" Like he doesn't like, he's like very like straightforward and like, she's like, "Well, I want you to do things for me," but he's not seeing it like that. He's seeing it like, "Who the heck wants to do the dishes? It doesn't make any sense."
Mm-hmm.
And so like, that to me is probably who I would pick as far as an actor that I think represents me.
Did you tell him the actor thing?
The Dustin Hoffman thing?
No, just in general about the who would you be as an actor?
No.
'Cause I remember one time you was talking to me about that particular question, saying who would you have play you in a movie about
I
you?
feel like we did have that conversation.
Yeah, we
Was
did.
my answer Vince Vaughn then too? Do you remember?
I don't remember your answer. God, I suck. I only remember what you said.
I don't
about me.
remember yours either. What did I say about yours?
You said I was specifically Matt Damon from Goodwill
Good Will
Hunting,
Hunting?
the asshole Matt Damon. Or whatever.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense actually. That does make sense. That almost makes more sense than Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
And
I
to
could
be
see that.
fair, when I say these things, I don't mean them as an insult. I mean,
yeah, I didn't take
like
it as an insult.
I chose intelligent people for both times because I think you're intelligent. So that's why I chose those people.
I mean, I agree. I did it. Like I kind of did this just a little bit of a banter. Kind of, that way it breaks up because a lot of our stuff, trying to explain rules and stuff like that, it does get kind of dry, and I get it. So, I'm trying to bring a little bit of that. Hey, let's get a little wild side going on. Make it
It
spicy.
was better than my funny story.
Yeah, because yours. But I made one for myself, and I am an untrained German Shepherd because, untrained German Shepherds are just like, which way did he go, George? And for the famous actor, it would be the late, great Chris Farley in Tommy Boy.
Fair
Let's
enough.
see.
That makes sense.
Because sometimes I just want to just take the wheel and drive into a bridge abutment and then have my hair all crazy. Yes.
Fair enough.
I mean, he was funny. I'm funny.
Yeah, Chris Farley's hilarious.
Funnier than, somebody's funny stories.
Yeah, those stories were kind of brutal.
So,
Just
yeah,
a little
maybe,
bit.
Maybe I just thought they were funny. It's cool.
I mean, in your head, bro, it's all you. You got this. You got this.
I'll save you from the other two stories I was going to tell.
Were
How's
they
that?
not as funny as the first two?
I don't know. One's about a guy up in. It's not about personal, really, but it's about a one-upper. You know how people one-up people.
Oh, I know. I know people whose whole personalities are one-uppers.
Okay, well, I can tell you the story real quick. Do you want me to do it?
Is
It's
it funny?
not funny. No.
Okay, all right. Then let's hear it then.
It's ironic though, as fuck. Like, excuse my French, I guess. But so there's this guy I know, and he ones up everything. And I was sitting and talking to another friend about this guy, right? And my friend was telling me a story about catching a fishing pole with a fishing pole. Okay, so
Okay.
he's telling me a story about one time he caught some, didn't know what it was, reeled it in. It was another fish, just like an old fishing pole that had been in the lake or
Sure.
whatever. And we were joking about how if we went over and we told this other guy this story, that somehow he would up this story, right? Like there's no way he's not going to up this story. And I'm pretty blunt sometimes. So when we went over there to talk to him, I straight up told him, hey, we were joking around about telling you this story and about how you would one-up it, And so we proceed to tell him the story. But I'm thinking, like, he knows that I just said that you were going to one-up
There's
it.
no way he's going to do it.
Now. Yeah, not
Yeah,
now.
right.
Right? And so I tell him the whole story and everything, and he's like, oh, yeah, ha, ha, and he goes, well, actually. And I was
Stop.
like, oh, my God, is he going to? And then he starts it's like he forgot that I told him that. And he starts going into this story about catching a fish, right? He starts reeling in a fish, and he gets it in, and he realizes there's another line connected to it. So he starts pulling the other line, and he looks over, and there's another guy on the dock that has caught the same fish that he did. And then he gets into like in the story, he said that he kind of got into an altercation with the guy, and then the guy ended up giving him the fish because like a state troop or like some park ranger got involved. It got crazy, where he was going to deck the guy to get the fish, or he did. I can't remember exactly what happened. But I thought afterward, I was like, and we walked away, and I was like, he did it. He did the exact thing we were saying he was going to do. Not only did he catch a fishing pole, but he caught a fishing pole with a fish and a guy on it.
Yeah.
Like he did the ultimate
That's
one
not
up.
even a one-up. That's like a three-up.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was crazier to me because I straight up told him that when we came up there, that he was, that it was like funny that we were talking about. I was kind of pointing out the fact that he one-ups everything. And then he was just like, yeah, I do that. Let me one-up that. Or 10-up it, as you
as you were saying.
Man,
See, that's actually like somewhat comical. You should have led with that story. That was way better.
that would have been
okay.
way better than,
The other
Hakuna
two.
Matata.
Hakuna
E.T.
Matata.
E.T. being
Can
dead.
we just Hakuna Matata that whole first story?
Yeah, I mean, like, because it's supposed to mean no worries, but now it means, you've been karate chopped in the face and you're dead. Like, I mean, it's just a lot. It's just a lot to deal with.
That's the point, though.
I mean, to be fair, the dead guy probably wasn't worried anymore. I mean, you know?
Yeah, and now we have a fun, positive memory to associate.
Sure. I wish I could Hakuna Matata that Monsters and Mazes movie you made me watch.
Oh, I 100% agree. Where's the button for that one?
Okay, that's out of line.
So, two things. First, three things. One, we're getting close to time. Two, we need a word. And three,
I think, okay, do you have a third thing here? I think it's
a
your
question,
turn.
either a question or no. Oh, no, the request for the next movie. That was it. I want to do the question, too, so four things.
Okay.
So, is my turn on the word?
Yep.
Uh,
Hakuna Matata.
yeah. Hakuna Matata, yes.
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 That's not my word.
Oh, my God, yes. That's perfect. Hakuna Matata.
That has to be the word. We
Okay.
have to.
That's the word. Does
We have
anybody
to.
have a question they want people to try to specifically answer in the comments for? Something we'd really want to know? I have one if nobody else has one right off the top of my head.
Go for it.
What's the longest podcast you'd sit and listen to by us? Like, I'm not saying we're going to necessarily sit that long, but I'm just curious. Are we keeping them to an hour because people are only going to listen to them an hour, or would people sit longer? Like, what's the longest you'd imbibe our podcast? Like, basically, so.
And also, if I could
Like,
add
I'm not
to
trying
that,
to obligate you guys to it.
No.
but-
So go ahead and answer that. And then in addition to that, is there anything else outside of like LARP information that you want us to try to incorporate into the podcast?
I agree.
And then also there might be let's see. Also, another good question. Man, I should have just asked this one. That is a good question, but also I'd want to know what people would want to hear that would be exclusive to our Patreon. So if you listen to the podcast, let us know in the comments. If you didn't have a comment with the other thing or comment both, let us know what other content would you want on the exclusive to the Patreon. A few ideas that I did have was like reading up the lore, chapters of rules that are not currently in the rule book, so they would have only applied at property, because I feel like that one might be an interesting systems to look at, and maybe some more controversial things is my ideas. So either that, or if you want to hear something else that I haven't thought of, let me know in the comments. Anybody else got any ideas on any of that?
No, I think you pretty much covered what I would add. So
So that was three. Is there one more thing? What was the other thing?
Are UFOs real?
Are UFOs real? Yeah.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
they're
absolutely.
unidentified.
Yeah, they're
No, I mean that's a question that I want to know.
yeah,
No, I
but
just
we're
told
telling
you.
you.
Yeah.
I'm
they're
asking
clearly
them.
real.
They're
I'm
real.
asking.
They're
are-
unidentified flag objects.
Okay,
yes,
fine.
those are real.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
UFOs are real.
What is your real question? Let's get down to it. Are aliens real? Is that
Are
what you're-
aliens like? Are
Are
aliens
spaceships
real?
real?
Man?
Intelligent?
What's
Do you
the
mean
question
intelligent?
here?
Intelligent life forms. Because I will say this: the people we have here, like
Yeah, I don't think
One
any
in this
intelligent life
podcast-
forms exist on this
one in
planet.
this podcast, no.
You
Two,
shouldn't talk about yourself like that.
I will 100% say I'm not intelligent. I actually had somebody say, thank you. I actually had somebody say that I was educated because I was explaining, about my mental health and how I'm embracing it and learning, how to cope with it. And they were like, well, it's good that you're educating yourself, so you are educated. And I was like, no, I specifically know that I'm a dumbass because somebody keeps hitting the dumbass button on me. So I own I'm a dumbass. Holy
A bug almost killed him.
dude.
It was a close call.
He
I'm
tried
glad
to
you're
fly
okay.
up my nose and I swatted him.
Did you say Hakuna Matata?
Inside, yes.
Okay, that's fair.
In my brain, that's the only thing I could say is Hakuna Matata. I swatted him before he tried to, knife hand me in my nose.
That's what they do. They knife hand back.
Yeah, buddy.
Fair enough.
So he didn't kill me. So he couldn't say Hakuna Matata. I said it first.
So is there anything else you wanted to talk about on this one?
No, I guess that's all I had today. Did I go
Oh,
over this
whoa,
four
I
things?
know what we missed.
What?
The next movie.
Oh, yeah. Somebody else pick.
You're up.
I said Spaceballs, but
I mean, I'm okay with watching
fine with it.
Spaceballs, but it's just
I don't
not
know.
related to
it's,
what
Right.
it's not related to LARP, but we're trying to get.
I enjoy the
other
movie,
things.
so I don't have a problem watching it.
I will watch it over and over.
Do you have a LARP-related movie that you even know of outside of that one?
The only two LARP related movies I know that are actually LARP related, sir, are
Hey, that one was LARP-related. You talking about Monsters and Mazes?
okay. So I will
Kinda.
I will
That was a
talk to you,
stretch.
Devine. Devine,
Yeah.
there's a wall right here.
Yeah. What do you got?
Okay. The only two that I know that are somewhat LARP related
Okay.
are Knights of Badassdom
Which we've watched.
and Role Models.
Which, I mean, I've watched a lot.
That is
I haven't
epic.
seen it in a while.
I will say, I still want to see Unicorn City. I know that that's a LARP movie.
Mm-hmm.
So if I gotta say, I would say that one. But
I'm really curious. Has anyone seen the Hawkeye episode where they LARP? There's a whole
I have
one or
not.
two episodes of a Hawkeye episode that, or like show where he goes and actually LARPs. Like,
there's a serious LARP episode in Supernatural too.
oh really?
Yeah, very cool.
Which one?
Interesting.
Because I love Supernatural.
It's so you remember Charlie?
mm-hmm.
It's built around her.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll see if I can find what the episode is, but I remember watching it when I watched through all the Supernatural episodes.
Yep. I remember which one he's talking about. I don't know exactly, specific number, but I remember it because that's kind of where right after they met Charlie, wasn't it? It was either.
Yeah, it was like the second time they met Charlie. They had to like seek her out, and they found her at that LARP event.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if you Supernatural at all or know who Charlie is, but
Oh, you must.
it's a good show.
You must.
I don't know.
I've
if
seen
you
it
must, but
off and on, on TV,
It's
but I
good.
never really got into it.
I mean, the Winchesters. Come on now.
Yeah, it's fair. That is fair. So what are we deciding as far as the movie goes here?
That's up to you. It's your movie, so
You know what you pick.
Spaceballs.
You pick. You want Spaceballs?
Let's do Spaceballs. I
Okay.
mean, it's not LARP related, but hey, it's
I'm down with it.
a classic.
Oh, can we rate that last one? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Are you being for real? Because I'll give it a rating. I really will.
Where
I
are
mean,
the
wait,
throws?
did we rate the other ones? Have we rated it was only one other movie, right?
We've only done
Knights
one
of
other
Badass.
movie.
Yeah, we did rate it.
And we rated it
Yeah.
overall and as a LARP movie.
Right. So you
Okay.
want to do that
Yeah,
with this?
sure. Why not?
I don't want to go first. Somebody else go.
Okay, overall,
1 to 10.
no.
What do you mean no?
No.
I think this
It
one
doesn't even get
All right.
a
I-
one.
I think you could literally use this one as the one. Like, say,
as the one.
I don't even want to
This
give
is
it a one. I'd as an overall movie, I'd give it like a 0.4.
Thank you.
And I'm not joking. As a
I-
LARP movie, like a 1.6.
makes it a little bit better to
I
be
guess.
LARPing when you, or
I
to know
guess.
about LARP whenever you.
There's
watch it.
there's some cool stuff in there. I guess if you're just focusing on the D&D and like the LARP aspects, there's some okay things. But
Yes.
it's an overall movie.
No.
I mean, even as a LARP movie, I would watch it again. But
Yeah.
it's a little bit better if you look at it from that perspective, I guess.
I mean,
It didn't get any better the second time I watched it.
I value Tom Hanks as an actor,
Yeah. Might be the worst Tom Hanks movie I've ever seen.
but no.
And I would actually recommend that people watch it, but only as a
Like as a meme.
Sleep
kind
agent.
of, yes, as a meme, right?
Like if you want just a truly off, like watch the movie and be like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like that's the movie.
Yes.
That's it. Mazes and Monsters, 1982.
All right.
And you said you found it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it was free on YouTube with ads, so you had to watch commercials. But
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Cool.
Terrible.
all we got?
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, guys.
Spaceballs.
Well, we hope you keep listening.
And we hope you keep fighting in the name of our capital, Darvishan.
And we'll see you all soon.
Bye.